Hello, everybody. It's Holger here from Constellation Research, here for a quarterly SAP update with my fabulous co-host, Martin. How are you, Martin?
I'm very good. Thank you. And how are you?
I'm very good, too. Thanks for being here. It's getting fall in Europe. I'm in Europe as well. Can't tell why, but we all have the cold. So welcome to Europe.
Yeah, right. Today it's a rather rainy day here in Stuttgart, but also the wine harvest is going on behind me in the vineyards. Probably not today because probably too wet, but yeah, well.
Well, if it's any consolation, I can say that I'm in Paris and it's raining here too. No city is beautiful when it's raining. That includes even fabulous Paris. So cool.
Yeah.
So we have board changes at SAP. We have a preview of TechEd and a few other miscellaneous items. Why don't we dive right into most board changes that I can think of ever at SAP in 2024? What happened?
Yeah, there was an announcement in the middle of the Sommerloch, as we say it in German, kind of the summer break or the summer
side, the no news time, yeah.
No news time, and that was that Julia White and Scott Russell will leave the board end of August. I think the announcement was end of July or roughly about a month before their departure. Came a bit out of a sudden for me, at least. I didn't see that coming. Julia, CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, joined SAP, I think, 3 years ago from Microsoft, owned the whole marketing stuff and also the events, which I think we will elaborate a bit later on when we talk about TechEd. And Scott Russell as the Chief Revenue Officer. I think that was his official title, not Chief Sales Officer, at least if I'm not mistaken. So owning the whole kind of, sales and partner management organization in the end, which also came to a surprise for me and or as a surprise for me. If I got the reorg beginning of the year right, he already, or his responsibilities got already a bit reduced, and Thomas Sauer, as he took over some of his responsibilities, if it comes to the whole consulting area. That's right.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. A surprise, not a surprise. There have been rumors that there was unhappiness with how marketing was performing and bringing out the S4HANA message, so that never looks good for a CMO. And let's remember, I think we did this already 3 years ago, Martin. Can you believe it, right? We commented about Julia White coming from Microsoft and saying, to be fair to anybody, it's a tall order if you have a US background working at a multinational German company, very German-centric company, being a woman on top of that in the role, and the not so good record of women staying on the SAP board, no matter where they're coming from. Right? We had Sabine Bendig before being the last casualty, and she came also from Microsoft from the tech area. So it looks like the Microsoft era is over. And on the Scott Russell side, I mean, the numbers were right, but the problem on the numbers is what's been the problem of the decade for SAP, the uptake of S4HANA. And that's where the board reacted by creating the Sauer-SAG org. Sorry, I forget properly naming customer success something. But Thomas told me at Sapphire in Orlando, it's okay, I can call it the Sauer-SAG org. And that shrunk some of Scott Russell's pieces. What is clear is that it was kind of like a planned move because Scott Russell found a new job as CEO at NICE the week after or something. It's pretty much immediately. So
yeah, you pointed me to this. I didn't hear that news. That was really surprising. I think he started beginning of September already. So just
right. So too soon after. Even with the high sought after executive, it takes a little time for boards to approve and so on. Which to me says that we very quickly have moved in the post Hasso-Plattner era at SAP, right? So, I mean, obviously any founder is super present. Hasso was always involved on the technical side, and both were people which were supported on Hasso side. Julia specifically, Hasso always has admired Microsoft marketing and the way how they go to market. And he always has the issue that he thinks SAP works too much inside-ward looking. So the whole solutions marketing management organization was set up to bring that outside in there with a lot of support and backup from Hasso, which I think in the trenches, in the day-to-day work in Walldorf probably didn't help because I've been in a similar situation where you have the backing of Hasso, but the rest of the organization doesn't want. And at the end of the day, Hasso is not enough to make you win, and you lose that role. So I can say it personally, and that was last century. So the same thing probably happened here from what I read, from what I hear. On the Scott Russell side, not enough S/4HANA adoption. And then we had a surprise thing happening late August, right, with my namesake, last name, no relations whatsoever, Jürgen Müller, being investigated for non-decent, non-appropriate behavior on a company event, and resigning on top of that, which came also out of the blue.
That came definitely even more out of the blue, and that, of course, I mean, seeing the reason given, that was for sure not planned, but I'm also a bit surprised about the openness SAP is talking about that. The reason, I mean, also German press is commenting about it, that it's a sign for a very strong company culture. But on the other hand, I think, I mean, seeing Jürgen leaving with such a press announcement, and in the end the reputation, that's gonna get a challenge for him personally to get another job. Yeah, and I think that's also what I hear. Yeah, the whole organization is a bit shocked right now. There is no successor in place. So Michael Ammeling, who was already reporting to Jürgen and was pretty close, took over most of the responsibilities for now, but as kind of an intermediate solution, and he's reporting to Christian Klein on this. Some cloud and security topics went over also to Thomas Sauer, Essex Resort. So also reorganization. And yeah, I mean, seeing SAP reorganizing since at least 2 years permanently, seeing the whole restructuring with a lot of people leaving the company, about 10,000. I'm sometimes, and knowing that also from back in the days as a consultant, from being at customers when they are in reorg, in the end it's very challenging to get something done in these times, and I think that's a challenge for SAP for sure.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I mean, from all that is there, we don't have to go in the details, not the other details, right? It was clear that the SAP had no choice to go public, right? There's a public criminal investigation, so and Peter Müller wasn't able to, also not how do you say it in English? Nicht haltbar, for those who speak German, to be a public officer of a public company, right? So, and taking it from the product perspective, that's of course super unfortunate, right? Also because there's massive turnover, like you mentioned before. And the platform is more important than ever, because not only is it transition to the cloud, but there's also this thing called AI, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. And platform is more important than ever before. And having it also dotted line report into the CEO and to Christian is of course a placeholder solution. So the good news is Christian, at least in his pre-CEO times, was always a big supporter of the platform. So, which is more important than ever in my view. So it might be helping SAP to strengthen the platform. And the great test for that will be to see what happens at TechED, which in my view, we don't have to jump into TechED yet, but we'll talk about it then. And the other interesting thing is, of course, is Peter Müller was a Hasso protege.
Jürgen Müller. Not
Jürgen Müller. Oh my God, Jürgen Müller, yes, of course. Who did I say? Which Müller did I put there? Too many Müllers. Peter Müller. No, there's too many Müllers. Peter Müller is still at SAP, I hope, right? So there's a Peter Müller, I think. All apologies to all the Peter Müllers, right? Yeah, Jürgen Müller was a Hasso protege, right? Coming out of the Potsdam Research Institute and so on, was Hasso's person to Botana and to where HANA is and so on. So the interesting fact which dawned on me is that apart from when SAP went public and no board member had any public company board experience, obviously, this is the least experienced board SAP has ever had, with only the CFO, Christian and Thomas, being people who have more than 1 year tenure, right? And hiring the CMO, CRO as replacement for Scott and CTO now, right? They may be new, they might be coming from now public board in Germany, which is unlikely, right? Because SAP is the largest software tech company. Who can you hire than in Germany for that?
And the second largest is almost gone because they were put into pieces, Software AG.
Right. So we're not going to increase the experience tenure to be a board member. So it's more than ever clear in the sequence, how at least the Julia and Scott things happened, that this was all done to not have these changes done while Hasse was still in place. So this is why it was waited until Hasse was done. Reference to him. His people got moved out. They probably knew it, right? I commented, Julia wrote a funny LinkedIn post about going fishing in Costa Rica for a week. So, and AI could help with that, right? So it was my funny reply on finding the right fish. But I think the writing was on the wall. People knew this already. And we're now in the post Hasso Plattner being active. He's still a shareholder, but being day-to-day active or as a board member. And it's totally in the hands of Ari Pecker, the board member, the new one, which was in place for Mr. Renchen, right? Lots of fluctuation there too. And Christian Klein. So it's a vote of confidence. They'll make it or break it, basically, in the current organization with the absence in the other jobs for Christian Klein and Thomas Sauersig to solve the S4HANA adoption problem. Yeah, and we'll see how that goes. We have DSAG coming up in a few weeks, right? You'll be there. Maybe do a special episode from there, how the mood is, and we'll see, at least from the product announcements out of Sapphire, which should be the conference which tells you about the business application value. SAP didn't do anything announcement-wise. I mean, they had a good AI story. We'll talk about this, but they didn't do anything to solve and address the customization issues, which there's too many of them. We all know this, but some of them are critical for companies. How to solve manufacturing. There was nothing on manufacturing, if I recall correctly, from Sapphire, and that's one of the big holdouts, which is a big mystery to me why SAP is not pushing more into that. And then there's, of course, closer to my research area, payroll, which is not in the cloud either. So if you move to S4HANA as a major SAP shop today, you still have to operate your ECC on premises for manufacturing and for payroll, which is not a good situation to be in, right? So, and those things will have to be addressed amongst many, many other things.
Yeah, well, with payroll, you can go HR for S4HANA, which they released now. I think that should go at least in the private cloud. And
exactly, in the private cloud.
Yeah, and with manufacturing, they have the so-called digital manufacturing cloud, or DM. I think they renamed it. But yeah, customers are not that happy about the feature parity, which is not there yet. And another topic in that whole industry topic, where actually, so to be very clear, I see the benefits of cloud, but also in the manufacturing area, I see also reasons for having on-prem solutions within a plant because of latency, network latency. If you, the machines are kind of connected to your ERP system and are suffering of latency in the end, and even nowadays with security stuff, which is also very important. If I got that right, I think there is even kind of a companion on-prem part of it, but I might be wrong. Don't take me for granted.
We both not the manufacturing experts here. Yeah, but to be fair, also, right? I think it was Oracle Cloud World, Open World, whatever it was, 2016, where Steve Miranda, who was in charge of apps at Oracle, said, I'm happy to go to any existing Oracle e-business suite, JD Edwards, Siebel, PeopleSoft customer, and say, we have functional equivalency. You can do the same thing in Oracle Fusion. And that took 12 years. And if you do the math, right, this year is the 1 decade since the S4HANA launch. So it was, so 10 years ago, 2014, S4HANA was launched in New York at an event. I was there. It was great. It was primarily about finance, where SAP started there. And so SAP still has 2 more years to be faster than Oracle to have functional equivalency for Christian, Thomas Sauersig, Mohamed Assam, who we have mentioned, right? The head of product, to walk to any existing customer and say, look, whatever you want to do, it may not be exactly the same way. It may still be a re-implementation. That's the same thing on the Oracle side, but you can do the same thing. The same business outcome will be done. And that's what SAP is struggling with. So.
Yeah, right. Just one comment about the CTO role. I think you mentioned the importance of the platform, I think especially the ABAP platform. And there, I think somebody from outside SAP, especially from another tech company, will have big problems, or might be the wrong person for this role, because I think it's crucial to understand the importance of SAP's legacy, and I think in the CTO area, that's mainly the ABAP platform. So don't know, maybe there are candidates out from the ecosystem, but I don't see any other big tech players around, especially also because the CPO alum came also from Microsoft, and I think he does, or as far as I hear, does a good job. But he's owning now the core ERP system, or the core product, the ERP, S/4HANA in the end. Has no ABAP background, and if in the end you have another board member with the responsibility for the platform who doesn't value the platform, that might become a problem for SAP.
Right. But hey, let's do a historic anecdote here, right? Even Shai Agassi came from the outside. The first time we built ABAP as proprietary, and they said ABAP is the best language to build business applications, right? I mean, any decent CTO will see the productivity there and the legacy there. And what I think is what I'm waiting for to come out of SAP is the code conversion, right? The AI-based code conversion of your legacy Z function, Z table, whatever things, into something that works with S/4HANA. That should be possible, and I hope for SAP and for SAP's customers and SAP's employees that somebody's working hard on that in Waldorf, Palo Alto, Bangalore, wherever it might be, because this is a pure transfer problem. And if you change programming language, there's some interesting converters, right? I mean, IBM is working on one from COBOL to Java, and there's so something about, the one saying wrong by heart, it was June I learned about this. Can't retain everything, and that will be very interesting if that has any high level confidence to convert things. That could be the solution. Yeah. As in general, AI I think will be the main driver, because I cannot run AI on premises really, right? So I don't know how much computers there. I cannot go to my board and say, yes, I'm sure we need 12 NVIDIA Blackwell machines and will be set for the next 5 years. Who knows that, right? So AI has to inherently be in the cloud, and that might be the realization that people will say, I'll even move to the cloud on a not complete ERP system to get the benefits of using business AI, as SAP calls it. Everything gets a business in front of it, or using third-party AI offerings, which are there on all the different clouds, in order to be part of it, not be excluded of it. There. Quick segue, right? We had a major, I'm usually very critical on market leaders. SAP is a market leader for ERP, so I expect the vision for ERP come from SAP. I'm equally critical on Salesforce, who is a market leader for CRM, right? I want them to do the vision for CRM, and they did something unheard of in my experience, and you can be the test of that right here at their user conference, Dreamforce, last week, by not only announcing the AI agent force, right, but equipping customer instances, and over 3,000 agents being built by people at the conference. Right, so I don't know anybody pre-putting customers upgrades, which obviously can't be invasive. The customer doesn't even know, enabling them to use new technology, and then enabling their admins, their business users, because all low code, no code, to build AI-based agents. And at the same time, right, everybody's building AI stuff. Very few people put a price tag on it. Salesforce says every invocation of the agent is going to be $2. That means that they are very sure that there's value from that to throw that number out there. And then lastly, it's very interesting for the algorithmic fans like I'm one on the AI side, is that they can make sense of the transactional data, which has been always a black book, sealed off for for the current transformer algorithm, which is only good on document and picture and video and audio related things, right? So very, very interesting approach there, very positive from that. And Salesforce has raised the bar right now for any transactional enterprise vendor how to do AI, right? If you announce it and you launch it, it's going to be there in 3 months. It's not going to be the same thing that Salesforce has done at Dreamforce. So very interesting thing happened there last week. I have to write more about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I need to check that out. Didn't hear about it, but I'm too much into my SAP bubble still.
No, it's fine. That's a great compliment, right? So I can bring the SAP part. I forgot completely. You're right about the manufacturing, whatever cloud thing, which is there. Which I don't know why they didn't talk about it Sapphire, because I asked them before, but that's a different problem. Shall we change gears towards ending the board thing and the overall thing to, well, will be interesting, right? Who's going to be the new CTO? It can be, of course, somebody internally. Again, not good as an HR person here covering HR succession planning is not clear. It was never clear who the potential successor is. I think, God forbid, like for a moment, if you say something would happen to Christian Klein, his plane crashes, he gets run over by a car or whatever, right? I think Thomas Saueressig would be the successor. I think we can see that, right? But otherwise, who's a Thomas Saueressig successor? And maybe there's a gentleman who was running also. Names escape me. Here was a placement for Thomas Saueressig last year at Sapphire when he had COVID. He's running as for HANA.
Jan Gilg?
Yeah, Jan Gilg would probably the Thomas Sauer successor, but potentially on the service side or whatever. Or Muhammad Alam has a successor from that perspective, with someone who can.
There's also Philipp Herzig. I think he's also pretty ambitious. He's
correct.
The whole AI topic.
He might be the CTO successor, right? If he gets the AI thing right in half a year or so, it's placeholder. So there's lots of internal talent.
I'm sure if that's possible that fast, but we will see.
Yeah. There's internal, but externally there's a real challenge, because you will run into the same paper issues that Julia White ran into, and that Muhammad Land frankly must have as well, trying to understand the German culture, trying to understand the SAP side if you don't have an international background. And the good thing, the difference I think for Muhammad is he comes out of India, so he's a multicultural person right from the start. Which anybody who only grew up in one culture and gets a job in another one has a challenge with, which you at least have acknowledged on paper, right? And you can't expect everybody to do as well as Bill McDermott did to finish this, right? Who was like, everybody was afraid, we're going to be sold out to the Americans and so on. Then turns out, hey, he's doing a great job, right? So he managed to convince the Germans that he's a good CEO for SAP, right? So, and the playbook of Bill McDermott, endearing and getting the trust of the German employee population, is there. So if I'm the board, if I'm Christian Klein, it's like give a few calls to Bill McDermott, or see how he did it, or how people did that. If you're an outside culture CXO at SAP, how to do it right. But okay, enough on the board, right? So look forward to TechEd, which to a certain point, for me, I said that before, is unfortunate. Why is this virtual? First, it goes to Bangalore. Fine. India is important. It's near and dear to my heart too. Show the Indian culture that we do a TechEd not only in Europe and North America, we do one there. Completely mishandled again, back to culture, right? You won't have the developers being sent there, but you had the managers sent there. So you had these odd situations of presentations where nobody clapped or understood what was going sent there. So misreading Indian culture. So not good from anybody involved there. I could have told that SAP. I told them. And now it's all virtual, and the platform is super important. So why don't you have an in-person event? So that doesn't look bad. But what's your take, Martin?
Yeah, I mentioned that several times. I think we covered it already last time, and now the whole setup. I think it was not public in when we recorded the last one in June, but now it's like the virtual TechEd is happening first week of October, I think 7th and 8th, and then there will be so-called I think companion events or something like that. So ASAC Tech Connect will happen soon after TechEd. Then there's an Australian event, one in UK, and the DSAG Technology Days will happen in April as the last companion event. So there they try to bring some on-site experience back. As far or what I hear, this was a decision from the marketing department in the end to set that event up in this way. Yeah, Julia is gone now. I hope there will be an on-site TechEd again. And there's an interesting fact: if you participate in the Developer Challenge Devtoberfest, which always runs pre-TechEd in the SAP community, there you can win a trip to the next on-site TechEd, which is a very clear sign, I think.
Okay,
There are no more details, but I think it's coming back. Another thing I also discussed just previously around the TechEd sessions. Most of the TechEd sessions are 20 minutes long, and that's not the right format for technical education content. That works to some extent or at Sapphire, where it's often about high-level strategy stuff. But having in mind that you need to introduce people to the topic in general, and then you can go deeper. I think that shows in 20 minutes you can't do any deep dive development stuff. That's not possible, including demos. I think that's also something SAP needs to reconsider if they think about future TechEds. This year, I just can say it about DSAG. DSAG is rather happy about the fact that they are getting more attraction. They are adding a third day to the technology days with focus on hands-on stuff. So hands-on sessions also open for partners. There was kind of a try, an MVP, I would call it, last year, or this year, kind of short notice, but you see it also with the dates. So technologies were already planned beginning of April, and I mean, it's also not a small event with 3,000 attendees. You need to get the facilities and all that kind of stuff. So it was not possible for DSAG to come closer to the actual TechEd dates. That's why it's so late. But I think that's fine too.
Yeah. Good for the user associations, because they have the technology conference kind of like for people in person. I agree with you. It's a huge miss not to have an in-person event again. I'm also disappointed that SAP couldn't pull off a small in-person event after the Julia White departure. I mean, because who cares, right? If that's in the face of the former CMO, now you do an in-person event of a few hundred people, better than nothing, and broadcast the rest. So you show the trend movement in the right direction. And I think it's a sign of how SAP has lost its agility, right? Because you have like 3 months, 2.5 months, 2 months, SAP with good budget standing, you should be able to pull off a small event, right? But fine.
Yeah, and what I also can get, I'm agree with you on that. And all these TechEd announcements in the past were always quite late. So it took a while that there was an announcement that there will be only one TechEd last year in Bangalore, and this year it also took ages till it was publicly announced that there will be no on-site event. So don't know what's the planning process behind that. I think it's very important, not only for the ecosystem, even more for the internal SAP developers. And I know I said that several times already in the podcast here, having people sitting in Waldorf who joined the company 5 years ago, who probably never met a customer face to face because they were never able to go to a European TechEd, is a big mistake for
and
SAP.
part of that was COVID, but the rest was
but
it's kind of like
it's the third year already where we have on-sites event back, and they never get feedback. They don't know how customers are using their technology.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's a big miss, and it's honestly a puzzle why. On the format, so I have to say, I've been to too many TechEds where I would have a 45-minute or a 1-hour session, which didn't have the content for that. So forcing it into the 20 minutes, I prefer to have 3 20-minute sessions and exhaust the content because there's not more than wasting 3 hours on something where I said, man, I could have done this in 1 hour and 1.5 hours, something like. So, I think it's good to experiment on the format. It's if you have content, 20 minutes is too short. On the high level stuff and just showing the highlights, I think it might be able to be done. We'll see afterwards. Yeah.
So, that was already the setting last year. I think there should be both. I mean, for the beginner sessions or the overview sessions, 20 minutes are okay, but there need to be TechEd stands for technical education. If they still call it like that, I expect that there's technical education, and not only for the newbies, and the experts need longer sessions with deep dive content. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for me.
We're at the half-hour mark, but we have more things to talk about, but let's do it at faster speed, right? I mean, obviously, what would we like SAP to announce at TechEd, right? From my side, of course, it's how to build AI-based applications. There's no question about it. I'm also thinking AI can't be done without infinite storage, right? Which in my view is lakehouse, data lake, whatever you want to call it, architecture. There was giddiness around this. I've been asking SAP since 6-7 years to do this, originally for analytics purposes, because lake houses have killed the data warehouse. Now as a storage foundation for AI. There was giddiness when I asked the question, wait for the fall and so on, or maybe TechEd, whatever. We'll see if there's going to be an announcement in that direction, which I think is crucial to make SAP's AI credible. And again, if anybody from SAP is listening at what did Salesforce do 2 years ago? They announced what's now the data cloud, which is the cloud-based data lakehouse, whatever you want to call it, which gets real-time updated if you do something in your Salesforce instance. All the information is there, plus the third-party instance, plus the integration to other systems with zero copy, whatever that means. I don't believe in that, but that's a different story. So the benchmark is this is 2+ years from Salesforce as the leader in CRM. So the leader in ERP has to find and come up with a solution. And to make it even more spicy, right? Oracle, a cloud world, same issue. Not much in that perspective, but now there's the intelligence data lake, intelligence something, coming out of the analytics team, right? The traditional way, so Oracle might be behind. That's enabling lakehouse for analytics, fine. We can talk about that, but it has that availability and works for AI as well. So it's my high hope for this fall, if not a TechEd, maybe it's a separate event. Yeah.
I think so, or I can imagine that there might be an announcement into this direction. 2 things I have in mind. Why? First one is there's a big push from SAP towards DataSphere to push their customers there to adopt it, even that it's pretty expensive, also not that well received. And another thing. So I think we also talked about that in earlier episodes. Of course, one reason for not having a real lakehouse in the end is HANA as the database. And now the inventor of HANA left the company. There might be a bit more flexibility in this area, probably.
You think Jürgen Müller is the inventor of HANA?
No, Hasso Plattner.
the father, not the inventor, right? The father.
But there was a big push from
he
his
retired.
Side.
He didn't leave. He retired. Okay.
Of course, he retired. Yeah, but there was even an interview with him, which was with a remarkable statement where he said he was asked about whatever wrong decisions or something like that, and he kind of said, yeah, looking back, he's not that sure if the whole HANA topic was the best thing they did back then.
Yeah, massive kudos to Hasso Plattner, who is a billionaire and they don't do anything wrong, right? But having that interesting, which he already offered at a Sapphire post or after COVID, where he kind of like framed it, saying, I might have pushed to in-memory for too long. That wasn't the data warehouse cloud announcement when Gary Katzenmeier, who's now at Google, was still at SAP, right? So it's basically the same thing, right? So that realization is there. Yeah, I've been saying on the public record, if SAP in the hindsight would have said we standardize on Oracle, they would have built more functionality and would be done with S4HANA. Because if you think what investments had to go into HANA overall, right? But hindsight's always 2020. But I mean, that was a decision which cemented SAP as a market leader in ERP by Hasso Plattner picking Oracle for many client server databases, which turned out to be the most successful one. And really funny, right? Now the last one available, basically. for enterprise, right? It's not like SAP would have to justify, well, we don't do these other guys anymore. This is the only one which is doing stuff, right? So, and it's the cheapest to run, and they could move all their customers into the cloud anytime, right? So, but okay, right, we are where we are. Good. And then we have AI, right? So I think platform-wise, the AI is ready. Customer adoption-wise, I have not heard much. I don't know if you heard more.
I mean, I think there is also an issue in the pricing model. I mean, not on BTP, but on the S/4HANA side, all the AI capabilities are only offered for RISE Premium Plus customers.
Yeah.
That's I'm not that sure if there are that many out there. I doubt that. To be honest.
Yeah, but how are you going to run it on premises, right? I mean, I understand the complexity of that. If you want to run AI on premises, I mean, you have dependencies potentially on GPUs and other things.
I agree, but I mean, RISE is private cloud, which is taking an on-prem product into a SAP managed hyperscaler environment. There would be there are customers who moved their workload or their ERP systems already pre-RISE to Azure, AWS, and Google, and they are just not able to consume it in the end if they don't kick the hyperscaler out and go to another contract.
But keep in mind, right? You're absolutely right. It's a private cloud on a hyperscaler. I don't think with the current demand for GPUs and any AI platform, any hyperscaler will give the customer, I don't know if they do this, I follow that market, I haven't heard of this, dedicated GPUs. Yeah, for enabling the private cloud. Right? So you're in the private cloud for your data and your application, but for your AI, the call out might be to anything scaling up, scaling down as you need massive GPU workloads for training purposes. Yeah. So I think they have it both ways now.
Yeah, but the RISE customers are running on the same infrastructure in the end. Maybe SAP just books some capacity.
Yeah. No. SAP books the capacity and uses the cloud to scale up, scale down. Yeah. Right? So they're using public cloud for the training. How they do it with the data will be interesting. But I don't think any hyperscaler wants to dedicate to RISE systems any GPUs, which could otherwise be used better and monetized better. Right. So that's fine. Yeah. And haven't heard anything that RISE customer gets, hey, 16 NVIDIA GPUs, and there's different packages which you can buy and order. Right? Nothing like that has happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it. We missed it. And this, by all means, right? Martin knows much more about SAP than me. So if we miss anything, please be social. Let us know. We're more than happy to correct what we're saying here. Well, for SAP people, for partners, for users, for anybody, right? If you miss something, don't be shy.
Yeah. For sure. And for sure, I'm not an AI expert, to be honest.
You're not expert. I'm not an expert in anything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So TechEd mainly about AI, probably also BTP, and I think I would call it developer productivity. So meaning whatever AI assisted coding. I think the ABAP's AI stuff might be, or that we are waiting for general availability, I think. Yeah, we will see what's happening there. Probably also some changes in the SAP build portfolio.
Yes.
So
very cool.
We will see.
All right. I think that's it. Did you forget anything?
Yeah, maybe just one kind of pre-announcement and also kind of heads up. So the German SAP user group, DSAG, is having their annual conference mid of October. So let me calculate, 15th, 16th, and 17th of October in Leipzig. I think around 5,000 attendees will be there. There will be a Thomas Sauer as a keynote on day one, and the board member of DSAG will give a keynote on day one as well. And the whole theme for the conference will be will also include partners, which is also a first for DSAG, and there will even be a partner keynote, a 20-minute partner keynote on day two, where you probably can see me on stage if you want.
Yeah, well, that was definitely shameless self-advertising, but totally worth it. So don't miss Martin on stage to co-keynote What's the topic of the keynote? What's the title?
It's in German. I'm so bad in just.
You say it in German. I'll translate it online.
Wait. Now you got me on the wrong foot.
Oh, no worries. So watch in the notes. We'll say what time. Do you know what time you'll be on stage in Leipzig?
You're asking questions. So
okay, we'll be in the notes as well.
On stage, I will be. Don't even have it in my calendar. That's a shame. I think at 10. I need to check the conference website. I will put everything.
Check out the DSAG website for the keynote schedule of DSAG. It's an important conference, right? That's where the users meet, the most powerful probably user group of SAP, and after next with the North American user group or the US user group. Usually big things are being said or not said, so it's going to be interesting to tune Thomas Sau as his keynote as well. And let's see what Thomas and with Martin, and with who do you present, Martin? Who's your co-presenter?
Florian Aschel from EY. So we are both member of the DSAG Partner Advisory Board. He is representing the big SIs. I'm representing the small build partners. And in a second I give you the topic of the keynote.
I know it will be in the middle of the night for me, but hey, I hope
that
there's
so 16th of October, 10:25, and the title in German is Soundtrack für morgen, partnerschaftlich die digitale Zukunft gestalten.
So, how are we going to build the digital future together as partners?
Yeah, and the conference topic in general is Dreiklang der Zukunft, which
Dreiklang, I don't even know. That's a musical thing. It's like three tones and harmony playing together.
Anwender, SAP, and
somebody got kissed by the muse. This being in Leipzig, like very good. Right.
It's the Bach city. He's even on
on the famous German composer. Yeah.
So perfect. Underline or second headline, Anwender, SAP und Partner als Taktgeber der Transformation. So
I'm not going to translate that.
And partners as pulse generator of the transformation.
The metronome of
metronome,
the metronome, yes, they would go the Taktgeber. Very funny, very interesting. Cool. All right then.
So
I think we summed it up. Executive changes on the board side, the least experienced board from a tenure perspective. We're in the post-Hasso-Plattner era for that. We said what we want to see at TechEd. We're not happy that TechEd's in person, and SAP could pull it off to make it in person, despite the CMO departure, even a small-scale event. So all eyes are on DSAG's event, where you will see our own Martin Fischer on stage talking about the future of digital in the SAP ecosystem. Don't miss that. And as I said before, if there's anything we missed, anything we should have said, any topics for our next broadcast, please don't be shy. You have our Twitter handles up here, or X handles up here, or it could be social in the notes, both on YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Yeah, you even find me with Cycling Fish on LinkedIn, which is easier than Martin Fischer probably, because there might be a few in Germany.
I'm not sure. Is there more Martin Fischers or more Holger Müllers? We have to figure that out.
Justify that. They're both are typically German names, I would say.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy. Be out there. And